Hello there. Thank you for joining me today. I thought I'll touch on a topic which a lot of people ask for. So, when somebody comes to me and says, I want to start my business, but I'm not sure I should work or I should work for myself. So, this is the sort of things astrologers look for. The most important thing in the charts is to look and see, if planets like the Sun and Mars, which are independent, strong planets, if they are, because obviously the Sun is all about working on their own, they're kingly, they like structure, order, they're independent, and they're very, very authoritative. So somebody who's got a really strong Sun will find it really hard to be working within the frames of a company and do a mundane job. So even if they did do that for a while, they will definitely branch out and do a job become self-employed, or unless if they work through the ranks and go to the very, very high, up the ladder, basically. So that's the Sun. So if the Sun is very strong, or Sun is in the 10th house of your chart, so this is why it's very important to know your ascendant, then that person is very likely to work for themselves, even if they start by working for others before. Mars is also another independent planet. So if they are sort of pioneers, free-spirited, independent. So this is again Mars in the 10th house, like the Sun. Sun and Mars both like being in the 10th house. They get directional strength there, so they are very focused, very logical minded. So yeah, somebody with that as well will also work for themselves. Sometimes Moon as well can be independent, although it could be more of a creative. So it could be somebody who is in the arts, or is somebody who's dependent on their placement, the house, and everything. And yeah, so that could also give fame, but more artistic, or teaching. That could be another thing as well. The other planets are not necessarily to do with self-employment. However, if your first house and the 7th house or the 10th house of your chart are strong, that's again another indication of you working for yourself, because obviously 10th house is, if it's strong, it's your house of career. So that's very important. First house is yourself. So you could be yourself self-employed. So you actually create your own job. And 7th house is 10th house from your 10th house. So Bhavat Bhavam of the 10th house. So if you count 10 houses from your 10th house, including that in it, you'll arrive at the 7th house. So if you've got a very strong 7th house as well, because actually it's also a house of merchant's house, commerce, and dealing with others as well. So again, that will be somebody who work for themselves as well. I find there are two other techniques that work really well as well. That's one of them is if there is a scoring point in Vedic astrology called Ashtaka Varga. So if your 10th house has a really high score and your 6th house is much lower, you will work for yourself, or eventually. And vice versa. So if you have your 6th house score is higher than your 10th house, then you will actually work for somebody else. And then there's another technique as well, which is if you have 5 or more planets from sort of 7th house axis to the 12th, or from 10th house to 3rd house, you're likely to work for yourself as well. So that is again another indication. But you really want to look at the third house as well. It's very important for working for yourself as well, because it's self-effort. So that's it. And obviously there are other things as well we look at too, but this gives you a little indication, so you can have a look at your chart and just see whether or not if you're planning to start your own business, if that is something that is written in the stars for you. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you on the next one. Thank you.